A nationwide general knowledge contest for the title Brain of Britain 2006. The chairman is Robert Robinson.
Hello. Who knows but that the winner will be found among our latest 4 contestants who come from the south of England. They are Duncan Potter, a bank worker from Bournemouth, Colin Bannerman, a railwayman and a civil servant, now retired, from Andover in Hampshire, Ralph Mayer, a marketing manager from Crawley, West Sussex, and John Thompson, a voluntary worker, also from Crawley. The rules have not changed. 5 right in a row earns an extra bonus point, and there are still 10 seconds for thought. Here is the first question for Mr. Potter, and it's this. Hamilton is the capital of the oldest of Britain's remaining overseas territories, situated in the Western Atlantic. Which territory is it?
Bermuda.
It is, and they say the Bermudans stand on their tradition and their cash tills, as someone said. Not a bad foundation, really, when you think about it. Now another question for Mr. Potter. It was announced this year that a property with musical connections near Memphis, Tennessee, is to be designated as a U.S. National Historic Landmark. Whose house was that?
Elvis Presley.
Yes. After his first great success, I met him, and he once said to his father, he told me, "Daddy, how did it all happen?" And his daddy replied, "Elvis, I do not know." So they were surprised, which is rather, well, nice of them. The Internationals were successive organizations formed to unite socialist groups around the world, the first and second International being 19th century creations. By what name did the third International, founded in 1919, become better known because of its establishment by Lenin and control by later Soviet communist leaders?
The Comintern?
Yes. Of which fruit is the Conference a variety, having by far the biggest crop yield in Britain?
Apple.
No. Mr. Thompson?
Pear.
A pear is the answer. Mr. Bannerman, your turn. Created in 1999 and held for 2 years, which literary post has been held by Quentin Blake, Anne Fine, Michael Morpurgo, and currently Jacqueline Wilson?
Children's Laureate?
Yes, you're right. Which Shakespeare play is set in Vienna? Out of time. Mr. Potter?
Measure for Measure.
Is quite right. Measure for Measure is right. Now it's Mr. Mayer's turn. Which United Nations agency was founded in 1948 to help coordinate medical and scientific information, standards and research?
UNESCO?
No. Mr. Thompson?
World Health Organization?
Yes, you're quite right, sir, and it's your turn. Of which performers are white faces and Augusts, the 2 principal traditional varieties?
Clowns?
They are. The 4 Galilean moons of Jupiter are sometimes said to have been the first objects in the solar system discovered with the aid of a telescope. Can you name any one of them?
Io?
Yes, you're right. The others, Ganymede, Callisto, Europa. Well done, Mr. Thompson. Who was the god of wisdom and inventor of writing in Egyptian mythology, often depicted as an ibis or with the head of an ibis?
Isis?
No. Mr. Bannerman, your light was on first.
Thoth?
Thoth is right. Though it sounds as though he had a terrible lisp, doesn't it? Thoth. Yes. Now, at the end of that opening round, let's see. Mr. Mayer, who has yet to score. We have 2 for Mr. Bannerman, 4 for Mr. Potter, and 4 for Mr. Thompson. Mr. Potter, what in the human body are affected by the condition phlebitis?
The noses.
No. Mr. Bannerman?
Veins?
Veins is quite right. Your turn. Which common British place name element derives from the Latin for a camp or walled town?
Chester?
Yes. Chester is right. Which soldier, courtier, and favourite of Elizabeth I was executed in 1601 following a failed rebellion?
Essex?
Yes. This year has been celebrated in the fashion world as the 80th anniversary of the introduction by Coco Chanel of which item?
The A-line?
No. Mr. Potter?
The little black dress?
Yes, the little black dress. And earlier, Jorkins taunted me and said I ought to say the little black dress because Coco Chanel was French. But I refused to do it. Mr. Mayor, your turn. Its name, meaning upright man, which of the predecessors of modern humans may have been the first to control and use fire, although this is disputed?
Homo erectus?
Yes. Which rank of the peerage in the UK stands second to that of Duke?
Earl?
No. Mr. Bannerman?
Marquis.
Marquis is right. Mr. Thompson, it's your turn. This year is the 50th anniversary of a famous incident in horse racing's Grand National, when the Queen Mother's horse, Devon Loch, stumbled in the home straight and lost. Who was the jockey?
Dick Francis.
He was the subject of many legends and an inspiration for writers, including, it's said, J.R.R. Tolkien. In which English county is the distinctive hill called the Wrekin?
Shropshire.
Yes. What type of weather condition are the Har, H-A-A-R, and Fret to be found off the north-east coast of Britain?
The sea mist.
I'm having a look at him. He's pondering. Finally, I say, it's like drawing teeth, but I managed it. He got fogs. Well, mists are fogs, aren't they? Or sort of slight fogs. So you're right, mists, fogs. What is claimed to be the largest single-span glasshouse in the world can be found at the National Botanic Garden of Wales at Llanafni in Carmarthenshire. Who was the architect?
Paxton.
No? Mr. Bannerman?
Norman Foster?
Foster, yeah. It always is, isn't it, really? There, Lord Foster and partners. And at the end of that second round, let's see how things stand. We have 1 for Mr. Mayor, 5 for Mr. Potter, 7 for Mr. Bannerman, and 7 for Mr. Thompson. Mr. Potter, the machinations of the Marquise de Merteuil and the Vicomte de Valmont are the subject of a 1782 novel by Pierre Chodelos de Laclos, which has been the basis for adaptations for stage and film in recent years, notably Christopher Hampton's. Can you give us either the French or English title?
Les Sons Dangereux.
Yes, you're absolutely right. What would be held in an ornamental attachment called a sconce?
A baby?
No. Mr. Thompson?
A candle.
A candle, or a light of perhaps various sorts. Mr. Bannerman? In a separation of political and administrative responsibility from early April this year, the Lord Chancellor lost his role as head of the judiciary. That role is now undertaken by which senior judge?
The Master of the Rolls?
No? Mr. Mayor?
Lord Chief Justice.
Yes, you're quite right. It's your turn. Which country announced late last year that it was moving its capital to Pienmania, if I pronounce that correctly, about 250 miles north of the present coastal location, supposedly because of its more central position, and they held a grand parade there earlier this year to inaugurate the change. Which country?
No.
Guess. I dare you.
Namibia.
No? Mr. Thompson?
Burma.
Burma's right, or Myanmar, yes. Myanmar, I should say. And now it's your turn, Mr. Thompson. This year is the 125th anniversary of the first of the Savoy operas by Gilbert and Sullivan, taking a strict definition, although the term has sometimes been applied to all of their collaborations. The work from which we now hear the opening song was actually the first to be performed at the New Savoy Theatre, transferring there in late 1881, and supposedly becoming thereby the first theatrical performance to be lit by electric light. Which work is it?
Shall
what is the work?
Patience.
It is indeed. Well done. That was the chorus, 20 Lovesick Maidens We, performed there by the D'Oyly Carte Opera Chorus, the new symphony orchestra, conducted by Isidore Godfrey. And as someone punningly remarked about Gilbert and Sullivan, a pair of sparkling guys. I just thought you ought to know, so I could deliver myself of the burden of being the only one. Now, Mr. Thompson, it is sometimes assumed that Montezuma II was the last Aztec emperor. In fact, he had two short-lived successors before the Spanish conquerors finally took power, his brother and then his nephew. The latter, eventually executed in 1525, has many places named after him in Mexico, and his name is also a popular non-Spanish first name. What was that name?
I don't know.
No, they all look a bit stumped. Yes? Well, that leaves me to have to pronounce this name, which I'm loath to do. It's, I'll tell you how it's spelled. How's that? C-U-A-U-H-T-E-M-O-C. Cahotemoc. Or nearly. Something like that anyway. And so, at the end of the round, the scores are 2 to Mr. Mayor, 6 to Mr. Potter, 7 to Mr. Bannerman, and 10 to Mr. Thompson. Now we have 2 questions from one of our listeners, and he hopes to beat all 4 of you as you put your heads together to answer these questions. The first of them, sent in by Mr. John Head from Alveston, South Gloucestershire, is, in which country is Baden-Powell buried?
Scout used to be all over the world.
Yeah.
India, it's somewhere colonial.
South Africa, we think.
No.
Oh.
Kenya is the answer.
No,
Yes.
East
Now, what sign is carved on Baden-Powell's tombstone?
For the salute, I doubt the swastika either.
Yeah.
We think it might be the Boy Scouts salute.
No, it's a circle with a dot in the middle, a sign which means I have gone home. And so that's it. As Auden wrote, Lord Baden-Powell, with a piece of string, was proving that reef knots honour the king. Nicely put, too. But so that's the sign. But Mr. Head had you on the run all the time, and so he gets his book token and this round of applause. Mr. Potter, which printing technique was invented in 1798 by Alois Senefelder, a German actor and playwright who had been in financial difficulties because of problems with the printing of his work?
I don't know.
You won't ever guess at it. Mr. Thompson?
Lithograph?
Yes, lithography, if you like to call it that. Well done. And it's Mr. Bannerman's turn now. The Irish civil servant Brian O'Nolan used several pseudonyms in his writing career, such as Miles Nagopaline for his journalism. Under what name were his comical and fantastical novels, such as At Swim, Two Birds and The Third Policeman, published?
Flann O'Brien.
Quite right. Parsnip, fennel and celery all belong to the Apiaceae or Umbelliferae family of plants. This family is also known by 2 more common names, both those of familiar vegetables. Can you tell us one of them? Have a guess.
Pea.
No. Mr. Mayor?
Onion.
No. Mr. Thompson?
Carrot?
Carrot is right. The other one being parsley. Now it's Mr. Mayor's turn. The Americans often call their spacemen astronauts. What do the Russians call theirs?
Cosmonauts.
They do. Which character in one of Alexander Dumas' novels was imprisoned in the Chateau d'If?
The Man in the Iron Mask.
No, Mr. Bannerman?
Edmund Danton.
Yes, the Count of Monte Cristo. Yes. It's your turn, Mr. Thompson. The remote isolated island of Socotra in the Arabian Sea, noted for its production of frankincense and myrrh, and with many unique species of flora, belongs to which country, though actually lying closer to the coast of Somalia?
Yemen.
All right. At this year's Commonwealth Games, Mick Galt became England's most successful medalist in the Games' history, taking his tally to 15 over the years, 9 of them gold. What is his sport?
Hammer throwing.
No, Mr. Potter?
Shooting.
Shooting is quite right. Well done, sir. And now let's see how the scores have changed. They're these: 3 to Mr. Mayor, 7 to Mr. Potter, 9 to Mr. Bannerman, 13 to Mr. Thompson. Mr. Potter, the left and right-hand rules were devised by an English electrical engineer, after whom they are named, in the late 19th century. They are used to demonstrate the relationships between the directions of current flow, motion and magnetic fields in electric motors and dynamos, respectively. What was the engineer's name?
James Clerk Maxwell.
No. Mr. Bannerman?
Faraday.
No. Then I'm going to have to tell you. John Fleming is the answer. Mr. Bannerman's turn. Which major naval battle of 1797 was fought off the Cape at the extreme southwestern tip of Portugal?
Cape Matapan.
No. Mr. Mayor?
Trafalgar.
No. Cape St. Vincent is the answer. Mr. Mayor, your turn. In the House of Commons, most members of Parliament refer to each other as the honourable member or my honourable friend. How are members referred to if they are privy councillors?
Right Honourable.
Yes, you're quite right. Earlier this year, the award for Whitbread Book of the Year for 2005 was won by Hilary Spurling for her biography of an important 20th century modernist artist. Which artist was that?
Picasso.
No, Mr. Potter?
Matisse.
Matisse, quite right, sir. Well done. Mr. Thompson, since the withdrawal of Ecuador in 1992, there has been only one Latin American member of OPEC. Which country is it?
Venezuela.
Yes. Which accident-prone schoolmaster was created in the mid-20th century for sketches in Punch magazine by H.F. Ellis, which later appeared in book form and was eventually portrayed on television in the 1980s by Arthur Lowe?
No.
No? The others seem a little thunderstruck. Yes, I must tell you, A.J. Wentworth B.A. is the answer to that one. Now, let's see how the scores have altered. We have 4 for Mr. Mayor, 8 for Mr. Potter, 9 for Mr. Bannerman, 14 for Mr. Thompson. Mr. Potter, what natural shape or form would something have if its appearance was described as botryoid?
Kidney-shaped.
No. Mr. Bannerman?
Like a bunch of grapes?
Exactly so, sir. Well done. And it's your turn. Last year, a so-called living fossil, a representative of a group thought to be extinct for millions of years and so dubbed the coelacanth of rodents, was identified as a new species 10 years after first being noticed by a scientist at a market in Southeast Asia. Described as looking like a cross between rat, squirrel and guinea pig, in which country was it found?
Papua New Guinea?
No. Mr. Potter?
Indonesia.
No. Mr. Mayor?
Nepal.
No.
China.
No, it was Laos, where they trap and eat it. It is your turn, Mr. Mayor. The architects Frank Matcham, W.G.R. Sprague and Bertie Crewe were all active in the late Victorian and Edwardian era and noted specially for their work in designing a particular type of building. What type of building was that?
Railway stations.
No. Mr. Potter?
A pavilion.
No. Mr. Thompson?
Churches.
No. Now, Mr. Bannerman?
Shops.
No. Theatres is the answer. And whose turn is it, Mr. Thompson? A new international airport opened on the site of the former RAF Finningley near Doncaster in 2005, after which legendary figure is it named?
Robin Hood.
Yes. Chaucer, in his Canterbury Tales, painted a very unflattering portrait of a minor lay official who had the power of bringing people before ecclesiastical courts. Widely regarded as corrupt and extortioners, What were these officials called?
Pardoners?
No. Mr. Bannerman?
Summoner.
Summoners is right. And now, how are the scores? They're these: 4 to Mr. Mayor, 8 to Mr. Potter, 11 to Mr. Bannerman, 15 to Mr. Thompson. We start again with Mr. Potter. Which American author, whose marriage was famously tempestuous, wrote pointedly in a letter to his wife in the year of his death, 1940, "I wish you read books. You know, those things that look like blocks but come apart on one side."
F. Scott Fitzgerald.
Well done, sir, yes. We now hear the opening of the third movement of a piano concerto composed about 50 years ago, soon after the composer himself turned 50, as a birthday gift for his son, who premiered it on his 19th birthday in May 1957. Although he dismissed it as having no artistic value, it has proved to be a very popular piece. Who was the composer? And who was the composer?
Lennox Berkeley.
No. Mr. Bannerman?
Shostakovich?
Yes, Shostakovich is quite right. Shostakovich's second piano concerto, played by Dmitri Shostakovich, grandson of the composer, and Shostakovich was accompanied there by I Musici de Montreal, conducted by Maxim Shostakovich, who was the son of the composer. I think that wraps things up rather well. Yes. It's your turn, Mr. Bannerman. Which still popular game, first patented by Joseph Ashton Fincher in 1889, and which became a craze in the following decade, seems to derive its name from a slang term for an unlicensed beer house?
Shebeen?
No. Who can have a go? You all look very thwarted to me. So I better tell you. Tiddlywinks is the answer. And the patent called it Tiddledywinks. However, there. Mr. Mayor, it's your turn. In digital technology, which compressed music file format reduces the data of CD tracks to a fraction of their original size? I'm sure this is one you can't guess. You either know it or you don't. Mr. Thompson?
SMS?
No. No, heads are shaking all around. MP3 is the answer. Mr. Thompson, which colleague and eventual successor of St. Paul is the only named person to whom more than one of Paul's epistles in the New Testament are addressed?
Titus?
No. Mr. Mayor?
Timothy?
Timothy is quite right. And that's the end of that round. And the scores are 5 to Mr. Mayor, 9 to Mr. Potter, 12 to Mr. Bannerman, 15 to Mr. Thompson. We embark on our final round, beginning with Mr. Potter. The Cradle of Humankind is a large World Heritage Site covering some dozen fossil sites, including something that is pronounced Tone, but it's spelt Taung, and the Sterkfontein Cave, in an area which is one of the richest concentrations of human ancestor finds in the world. Much development has recently been taking place to turn it into a showcase attraction for its country. Which country?
Vietnam.
No. Mr. Bannerman?
Tanzania?
No. Mr. Thompson?
Kenya?
No. Now, Mr. Mayor?
Uganda?
No, South Africa is the answer. It's now Mr. Bannerman's turn. Mingus Campbell became the new leader of the Liberal Democrat Party earlier this year. Can you name either of the two defeated candidates in the final election?
Simon Hughes?
Yes, and the other was Christopher Huhn. Which Midlands town marked the furthest point south reached by Jacobite forces in the rebellion of 1745?
Derby.
You're right. Which nationality was the leading modernist writer Jorge Luis Borges, who died in 1986? What was his nationality?
Colombian.
No, Mr. Potter?
He was Argentinian.
Argentinian, you're quite right, Mr. Mayor. Which British musical became the longest running in Broadway history in January this year, having run since 1988?
Cats.
No. Mr. Thompson?
Les Miserables?
No. Mr. Bannerman?
Phantom of the Opera.
Yes, the Phantom of the Opera is quite right. Mr. Thompson, this year is the 100th anniversary of the death in a traffic accident in Paris of a scientist who had received a Nobel Prize for physics just 3 years before. What was his name?
Curie?
Yes, you carefully didn't give his first name.
Because I can't remember it.
No, a very sensible reason for not giving it. Pierre Curie, but Curie is right. In which field was William James, the elder brother of the novelist Henry James, an important figure in the late 19th century?
Anthropology?
No, Mr. Potter.
Psychology.
Psychology, yes, and philosophy. He once dreamt he'd found the secret of the universe, woke briefly, wrote it down, and in the morning found it was gibberish. What bad luck, eh? Anyway, that was the end of that round, the end of the competition on this occasion, the final scores being these: 5 to Mr. Mayor, 11 to Mr. Potter, 15 to Mr. Bannerman, 16 to Mr. Thompson.
Well done. Well done.
So that was just by a whisker. Mr. Thompson edged ahead of Mr. Bannerman, and he goes forward, does Mr. Thompson, to the semi-finals. Next week we have 4 contestants from the Midlands and East Anglia. Until then, I bid you goodbye.
The chairman of Brain of Britain was Robert Robinson, and the questions were set by Kevin Ashman. The programme was devised by John P. Wynne, and the producer was Richard Edis.